Hello everyone, I'm Dan Philgreen, and this is Shell Point Today for Monday, May 13th. On today's show, we preview an event that demonstrates the benefits of massage, and it includes a free gift for you. We'll also talk with Kristie, an expert in the wildlife of Sanibel and Captiva, who will be discussing sharks and stingrays at this morning's Academy event. But first, we want to remind those in our audience with vision issues. Tomorrow is the final meeting of the season for the Vision Enrichment Group. Their special guest is Patricia Jadek, occupational therapist for senior home care. Not only can they offer personal help at your home, but they'll also have helpful aids like tactile stickers for your kitchen appliances and other devices. All are welcome to the Vision Enrichment Group tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. in the Social Center on the island. And tomorrow, we know there are plenty of creative cooks out there who would love to share some of their recipes. Well, now we have the perfect event for you. It's the latest event in our Get to Know Your Neighbor series, and it's for everyone who loves to cook. Whether you enjoy grilling on the barbecue, mixing together a homemade salad, or baking up a scrumptious cake, you're invited to swap stories with your fellow culinary-minded residents. This Get to Know Your Neighbor event for all kitchen experts takes place tomorrow at 3:15 p.m. in the Social Center. No sign-up is required, and all are welcome. Now, you may remember on last week's show, Robyn of the Shell Point Salon and Spa introduced us to their newest massage therapist, Robert Bissett. Robyn also enjoyed a hands-on demonstration of the massage services available. But it wasn't just special treatment for the manager. Any Shell Point resident, male or female, can take advantage of Shell Point's massage services. And now they're giving you multiple reasons to get started. This Thursday, Robyn and the massage team are speaking at a Health Connection class on how massage fits into your life quest goals. Everyone who attends gets a $5 coupon for massage services. So sign up for this class, which happens Thursday at 3:15 p.m. in the Social Center. Mary Franklin has this preview.
I'm Mary Franklin along with Robyn, and we're here to talk about an upcoming Health Connection program called Your Life Quest and Massage Therapy. This is going to be offered twice this summer, and you can check your Health Connections for more details on time, place, and location for both of the sessions. But Robyn, I'm really interested because when I think of massage, a lot of times I just think, oh, a day of pampering. Yes. How can this fit into a life quest goals?
Well, massage can be very pampering, and a Swedish massage would be your pampering massage. Mm-hmm. But then a more therapeutic massage can deal with certain areas of concern, whether you have tight or sore muscles and joints. Mm-hmm. It can really help with that. It helps with circulation and blood flow. Mm-hmm. Sometimes what will happen, especially up in our shoulders, is that old blood, not old as your age being old, but just old as the nutrients have all been wiped out of that blood. And it can kind of sit in certain areas, especially up through the shoulders and in the neck area, and it can pool. And when you get massage, it's just one example of how it makes those fluids flow, and so it just helps to replenish the fluids of the body and keep everything flowing in a healthy direction.
If I was going to a massage therapist, should I really have a conversation about what is going on?
Absolutely. And we have a lot of medical information that we do ask prior to the massage because all of those things are so pertinent. Because you would change the massage and customize it for that person if they have Parkinson's, or maybe they have some dementia, or maybe they have diabetes. You have to be very careful with the feet and the legs, and sometimes people want that leg and foot massage, and so we customize it that way. Sometimes people want just a back and neck or shoulder, so we customize it that way. So it doesn't have to be just, it's not a cookie cutter thing.
That's why there's that. When you look at the menu of things the massage therapy team here offers, there's a big menu. That's why. And you can, those questionnaire kind of helps you decide which menu item you should choose, I guess. Yes.
Right. We base it more on time. And then within that time and the cost for that time, your massage is customized to meet your needs.
That's very good.
Yes.
Very good service here, because we all know the power of touch and what it can do, and being able to focus on yourself for just a few minutes throughout the week would really mean a lot to a lot of you. If you want to find out more about your life quests and massage therapy, you can sign up at either service desk. Again, they're offered twice this summer. Check your Health Connections for more information. I'm Mary Franklin with Robyn Church. Make it a happy and healthy day.
This morning, the Academy welcomes a special speaker, Kristie Anders, the Education Director of the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation. She's an expert on the wildlife of our barrier islands, and today she'll be talking about fish with no bones. This would include animals like sharks, stingrays, and sawfish. All are welcome to this Academy event, happening this morning at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room. Kristie knows a thing or two about aquatic wildlife. In fact, she recently gave us a tour of the specimens found at the Conservation Foundation's Visitor Center.
I see a snake. Well, this is a mangrove water snake, so it too would be around the Shell Point area, the rather harmless snake that just kind of like sunning itself on the little roots of the trees. And I know a lot of people aren't really fond of snakes, but this is a good guy. And I think we all have that knee-jerk reaction to snakes.
A snake.
And that's okay, you know, but we kind of get used to good snakes, bad snakes.
Sure.
Most
and
of
we
ours
should
are
get
good.
used to which are good ones. Is that his skin?
Yes, he did shed in
beautiful.
recent times, so yeah. So now he's up warming himself underneath one of the lights.
I can just imagine a child coming to be this close to a snake.
Yep,
That's
again, handles and railings so they can get close.
and it's not taking off anywhere. It's just staying right there. Happy little snake.
And there's samples of some of the oyster bags that volunteers, hardier volunteers, help us a couple times a year to take these oyster bags out into places where historically there were oyster bars that have disappeared. And once you get these out in the water, then little baby oysters and also brittle stars and other creatures that are accustomed to hiding in those nooks and crannies start coming back. So
How do you put them in the water?
well, they load these bags up. They weigh sometimes 30, 40 pounds with dead oyster shells. And then they put them in kayaks and they wade out. And they hand over hand. So it's a little bit labor intensive, but if you've got some go-getters, this is a great thing to do. And it shows up on our website.
And then it just grows and the wildlife comes back.
Yeah.
Oh, how perfect.
Yeah, it's a great thing to watch the whole ecosystem come back in the oyster bars. As you see right now, we've got our donation jar out because we don't have anyone to actually greet the visitors. And during the winter time, we have lots of volunteers down here who are willing to help us, but in that summer slow season, there's a lot of times when we don't have someone to say, hey, that's a diamondback terrapin, or can I show you something about the sea turtles in the exhibits? And so for me, it seems that shell pointers might like coming over onto the island when there isn't a backup at the toll booth.
Exactly.
And still have a really meaningful way of contributing to SCCF's work. So
Absolutely. And fun to greet people.
Yeah.
What a nice place. Come on in. Look what we have here.
Right, right.
Fantastic. And that'll be $5, please.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
Okay, let's see what's over here.
Okay.
This is wonderful. Oh my gosh, where do you want to start? What's this?
Well, let me just say that this is about the size of sea turtle that would come up on the beaches to nest in the summer. Although this nesting takes place in the dark, so a volunteer who would be part of the sea turtle program probably isn't going to run into one of these. But this is the size, and that's why I say when they climb out of the water, they're leaving bulldozer tracks because those flippers are just pushing a lot of sand behind
How much do
them.
they weigh?
Well, they can weigh 200 pounds, sometimes 250. They can be a little smaller than that, and we have lots of species of sea turtle, but the primary one is loggerheads.
There's more.
There's more. So let me just show you what we've got is a little sampling of what our marine lab is doing. And this particular piling is just off of Shell Point in the Intercoastal Waterway. And it's one of our water sensors, and they're hoisting it out of the water. This is something that our younger, sprier 30-somethings do. But they've actually got to get their scuba equipment on, and they're pulling this out, and in all of the scientific instrumentation they find all sorts of crazy things going in there. One of the sheepheads actually chewed one of the wires, and we couldn't figure out why the sensor wasn't working for a while. But oh, it's a barnacle. You know, it wasn't. And then one got struck by lightning. This is one of the solar cells. It was the one off of Shell Point. It got struck by lightning, but they're out maintaining the equipment that actually gives us this computer feed that anyone who gets on a website can see, and it gives us salinity and temperature and how clear the water is, and that gives us an idea of what's happening in the river. And these sensors stretch all the way to Lake Okeechobee.
Fascinating. So we can tell from our home before we go out and get on our boat.
Right,
exactly
right.
What's going on out there.
And with this, they were able to explain to the Army Corps of Engineers and the Water Management District that because the river wasn't flowing as it should, there would be a stagnant pool. And in that stagnant pool is a place where water supply for Alva and Olga was taken from. And they said, if you don't change what you're doing right now, you're going to have to shut down a water plant that serves 40,000 people.
Based on solid research.
Yes, numbers,
Fantastic.
Just numbers, and these are out on our website. So
that's amazing, isn't it?
yeah, it's
Wow, what a place, what a place.
You know, folks that are more interested in the live shell, this is another part of being able to work in our nature center, is to be able to show people what a tulip shell looks like and a horse conch.
So cool. Yeah. Oh, so great.
So we have a flounder hiding in here someplace. I challenge you to find him, but it's in here. But it gives people a sense of what type of wildlife lives in each of the habitats of the island.
And you see them so quickly. You know,
Yes.
I mean, you see them, and you know, you see a raccoon and it's gone. There it is. You can really look at it.
And look at the talons of an osprey.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're beautiful. Beautiful.
And see how things hide in the mangrove roots. So low tide is an opportunity for these birds to be out feeding.
The mangrove is an amazing, amazing tree.
Oh
isn't
my
it?
gosh. I don't know. It is. It's an extraordinary tree. I mean, sort of the trade-off up north would be salt marshes. Mangroves don't tolerate frost, so what you think of as estuaries in the northwest or northeast coast would be salt marshes.
Right.
Down here it's mangroves.
It's amazing. Beautiful, beautiful.
This is Lucky over here. This was one that was crossing the street, and a woman picked up when it was about this big. And once her aquarium became too small for it, she brought Lucky over to us and said, do you have an aquarium for it? And we usually don't condone people bringing things in from the wild, but in this case, we made an exception because we weren't sure what the fate of Lucky would be. Being raised from this big to about that size is just about gator bait size, so it doesn't know how to protect itself outside.
I've never seen a soft shell this close.
Oh my heavens.
Aren't they amazing?
They have this snorkel nose where their whole neck can extend. Lucky can lay on the bottom and its nose will reach up to the water.
No.
Right now it's just getting warm, but its neck just extends. It's really amazing to watch.
That is amazing. Oh,
I'm amazed Lucky isn't looking at us because humans in front of the glass may mean food.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. But a soft shell turtle, you can see how it's sort of undulating.
Once again, if you'd like to dig deeper into aquatic wildlife, then attend this morning's Academy presentation on sharks and stingrays. It happens at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room. Now, let's move on to our Channel 13 radio program, Listening to the Words. Here with a preview of this week's show is David Howenstein.
Miss LaFoy was my kindergarten teacher when I started in September. After the Christmas vacation, she returned as Mrs. Otto. This was my first encounter with the fact women became someone else when they got married. That's from one of the stories in this week's edition of Listening to the Words. Another quote from the program: "No bubble is so iridescent or floats longer than that blown by the successful teacher." And this from one of the 3 cat stories in this Listening to the Words. It was during one of those petting sessions that I noticed how round Kitten Bob had gotten. When I petted his tummy and he rolled obligingly to one side to allow me access, it hit me. The kitten named Bob had kittens in there. David Howenstein inviting you to lend an ear and enjoy any hour of any day all this week on Shell Point Channel 13.
Hello and welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley and this is Suzanne Zavada, and we're going to go over what's happening here at Shell Point today. We're going to start at 8 o'clock where you'll find the mobile mammography van at the Village Church. They'll be there from 8 till 5 today. Then we move to 9 o'clock where the men will be down playing match play tennis down at the Woodlands tennis courts. 9:15 is an active time. We have billiards in the Resident Activity Center. We also have a 9:15 pottery with instruction down in the tunnel. And our last 9:15 activity is virtual bowling, and that's always a lively group in the Resident Activity Center. At 10:30, the Disciple Men's Bible Study Group will be in the game room of the Woodlands. Then we move to 10:45, where table tennis will be played down in the Tarpon Room. Our last activity for the morning is 11:30 Health Connections class. This one is agility and flexibility. They'll be in the health club. It's currently full. That's our morning lineup. Here's Suzanne for the afternoon.
Thanks, Bev. We'll start the afternoon off at 12 o'clock with Mahjong being played in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. At 1:15, we have Scrabble in the Library Lounge, and we have table tennis in the Tarpon Room on the island. At 1:45, we have a Health Connections, Balance and Mobility Training Level 1 in the Health Club on the island, and this is closed. At 2 o'clock, the Beady-Eyed Bead Club will meet in the Oak Room at the Woodlands. And at 3 o'clock, we have another Health Connections, Pilates Stretch in the Health Club on the island. At 6:30, Duplicate Bridge will take place in the game room at the Woodlands. And we'll end the day at 7 o'clock with square dancing taking place in the Health Club on the island. We hope you have a wonderful Monday, and we'll see you back here for Tuesday's happenings.
Hello, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Monday. At 10 o'clock, we have fish, no bones about it, in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands, and all are welcome. At 10:15, the Anatomy of Words group continues to meet in the Buttonwood Room of the Woodlands, and they welcome everyone interested in words. At 10:15, Apple iPad, What's in the Air will continue in the Manatee Room on the island. And at 1 o'clock, Making Hallmark Cards on Macintosh will continue in the Computer Center at the Woodlands. I'd like to tell you what we have coming up tomorrow. The new classes are History of Ancient Egypt Session 5 with Professor Adrian Kerr. Sign up is required, and you can sign up right at the class. We also have Printing from Your Tablet with Penny Modrich of Nautilus and Bruce Findlay of Sundial. Please sign up at either service desk.
Menus for Monday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is turkey pot pie with fried green beans and biscuits. The dinner special is home cooking night for $9.95, and the soup is chicken gumbo. In the Island Cafe for lunch, enjoy a patty melt with grilled onions and fries for $6.95. The dinner special is grilled southwestern shrimp salad with a cup of soup for $7.95, and the Palm Grill is closed on Mondays. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, I'm Randy Woods, and I'm here today with Ruth Deuber. And many of us have seen her for many times now with What's Cooking. And I've got you out of the kitchen today.
Yes, you did. It's a little different for me.
I've noticed. We've worked together now many different projects, seeing you with What's Cooking. There's certain peace and contentment in your life that I admire. What is your recipe? What are those things that have marked your life that allow you to be the person that you are?
Well, Randy, I think I have maybe just basically 3 ingredients, which is different than what I do on my cooking show.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know. I've seen a list of ingredients
That's right.
and
Usually more
trips
than
to the
that.
store.
Usually
So you have
more than that, yeah.
3 things that you think help. What would those 3 things be that maybe we could consider as a recipe for contentment or peace?
The first would be my God and my faith. And the second would be my family.
Okay.
And the third would be a good dose of laughter. And they don't always occur in the same order. Depends on what I'm doing or what I'm working on. They might be in a different order than that. But basically, those are the 3.
You mentioned family. Tell us about your family and your background.
Well, I had a wonderful husband, Warren, that we were married for 66 years. And one thing, he never missed a day to tell me how much he loved me. Now, that's a good recipe for anybody.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And we have 4 children, and 9 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren.
So is that the springboard for your laughter, time with family?
That's one of them. One of the.
Oh, yeah? Well, tell me about some of the other things that bring laughter and joy.
Oh, I think, when we were raising our children, we always made fun of each other.
Oh.
And if somebody was in a bad mood, why we'd say, let's have a pity party for Jane, and start laughing. Okay. And you know how laughter is. If somebody starts to laugh, then pretty soon everybody is laughing.
It's kind of contagious.
It is.
And you've demonstrated that through Spot, some of the programs that we've shared, that laughter that brings us a joy. It's very healthy. Well, as we were talking as well, you mentioned through life, music and art have been important to you.
Well, I mentioned that I spent so much time at my grandparents' home. And my great-grandfather was T.C. Steele, a well-known Indiana artist. In fact, he was one of the first American Impressionists.
Okay.
And he passed away in 1926, but he studied in Europe. And so in my grandparents' home, paint walls just covered with paintings and of Brown County, a lot of them, and a lot of portraits.
Okay.
And they were in that living room where I took my naps.
Oh.
And so I could see them most of the time.
See the paintings.
Yeah.
And what about music?
Music, my grandfather played a flute, and we had a wonderful player piano. Oh, was that fun. You just sit there and you make the most beautiful music in the world, but just moving your feet up and down.
I'm not so sure that I like that. I'd lose my job. So your family and laughter. You mentioned God and your faith. How has that been experienced throughout your life?
I would say when I was a child, I spent most of my summers and vacations with my grandparents. And my grandmother was a beautiful Quaker lady. So there was a lot of family history with the Quakers and that. But as my children were growing, we usually attended a church where the kids had their friends.
Okay.
That was a good way to get them to church, because that's where their friends are.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned to me in our discussion, we talk about laughter and family and certainly our faith. But there have been challenges, different challenges through your life. And you mentioned being in a Presbyterian church and at that time dealing with loss, and yet being involved in ministry and encouragement. Tell me a little bit about that part of
1954,
experience.
we were up in Youngstown, Ohio, and attended the Presbyterian church up there. And I lost a baby shortly after birth. And the church was so wonderful to me and to all of us. I think one of the things that came from that was, I think the following year, I was ordained as an elder in the church.
Okay, in the Presbyterian church.
In the Presbyterian church.
So sometimes in difficulty, God works in a mysterious way.
That's right, yeah. So I had one loss, and then I gained that. So.
And loss is something we certainly, it's not a joy, it's not a laughter, but it's an experience that marks our life. And you've talked about the loss of a child. I don't know, recently, losing your husband after
66 years of wonderful life.
Yeah.
And I had to do a lot of praying over his illness because he was 89, and he said that he was through. He'd had a second stroke. And I can remember sitting out on our lanai, and he said, "Ruth, will you go along with my giving up and leaving?" And boy, that was a tough one, Randy.
Yeah.
But I knew that was what he wanted, and I knew there was something better for him ahead than where he was.
Well, wow.
And so I did go along with that.
That had to be a difficult conversation.
Oh, it was, yeah. We had some time when he was in hospice that we both adjusted to it and accepted it, which is something you have to do. You have to accept what you're dealt. So.
Yeah, and in our journey of life, there are those experiences like the gift of life that God has given us, and we honor Him for that with family. There are those things that He takes away from us, but yet at the same time, He's still a sovereign God that we trust. Yeah. Well, as we were talking about this recipe, you mentioned family and God and laughter. Are there some things that you use as tools to help identify and grow in those experiences with God and family?
I'm doing a lot more Bible reading and study in the mornings, and there's peace and comfort in that. Just reading the Word and saying the prayers. And
so, how does this recipe for peace, these elements of God and family, laughter, inspire you for the days ahead?
Particularly after the last spot show, I received many cards and notes from people that said, "Thank you for making me laugh." And if I can keep doing that, then I will accomplish what I want to in my life. So
that is
laughter is the best medicine. Yeah.
It is a good medicine. Scripture tells us that too.
That's right.
From the Proverbs, we read about that. Laughter is a good medicine for the soul. Well, as we've shared together, I think of these experiences, and I appreciate your honesty, your transparency. In some ways, it's difficult to talk about these things in a public context, but we see it lived out in you. And I appreciate that. It's so encouraging to me and so many other residents here that I interact with. There is a sense of peace, a joy, in spite of difficulty.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place where we live in God's world,
blessed.
right here at Shell Point. So.
Yeah, we are blessed. Well, you've helped us. Thank you for sharing the ingredients. And I know we don't have to go to Publix to get these things, do we?
Oh, no. And only 3 to a recipe. So.
Yeah. Well, it's perfect. I trust that you'll find those ingredients, God, family, and a little laughter stirred in.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Ruth, so much. Well, may the peace that we've spoken of be part of your life this day as you enjoy your life at Shell Point. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as we hear about saline-filtered swimming pools, the wave of the future, coming soon to Shell Point. We'll also talk with Sal Zumbo, a Shell Point chef who gave a pasta-making demonstration last week at the Crystal Room. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Monday, May 13th. I'm Dan Philgreen, and from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope that you have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.